What is up, friends? Welcome into Attacking Third. I'm your host, Darian Jenkins, joined by the lovely Sandra Herrera and Lori Lindsey. We have a dope show for you today. We are going to be talking about Week 22 preview, including a really great interview Lisa Carlin and Sandra did with Brianna Pinto, talking about the courage resurgence, if we can call it that. And then we're going to play a really fun game called Improbable, but not Impossible. So if you're listening here on Galaz.net, you're listening as a podcast, you're with us on YouTube, thank you for joining in and jump in the comments. Let us know what you're thinking. Ask us some questions. Give us some things to talk about. We're here for it. Sandra, Lori, how are you guys doing?
Feeling good, feeling great. I'm back. I feel back. It's been a few episodes of an absence for me. I needed to take a little time away to we're celebrating 90 days out till our big wedding day, and you know, the closer it gets, the more stuff you actually got to finalize. So I took some time away, and it was a good weekend. But I missed y'all. Like, you know, I miss hopping on here and chatting ball, and especially you, D. I haven't been on one of these with you for a while, so
it feels like it's been years.
I know. Happy to be back.
This season has felt like years, so here we are.
Yes. No, Lori, especially for you. I swear, I hear your voice. Anytime I have football on, your voice is there. Between you and Whitty, you're the only people I hear.
Yeah, it's like the voice of God. Even if we're not on the game, it's just like coming in.
Yeah.
Goodness, yeah. Good to see you, bud.
Yeah.
How are you, Dave?
I'm Gucci. I'm good. I'm still kind of coming off of the Ballon d'Or controversy, we can call it. But I actually wanted to get your guys' thoughts on it because I haven't been on the show since last week, I think. And I didn't get to hear your takes, but how do you guys feel about Bon Mati? First of all, the 50 journalists on the women's side compared to the men's 100, and then Bon Mati bringing it home for the third time in a row. Sandra, let's go with you first. What'd you think about it?
I mean, we stay disappointed, right, in these kind of things, and it presents all of these other sub layers of conversation around it. Bon Mati, we're watching like the current great player of our time right now, and it's a little wild to think about that because we're still watching somebody like Marta, but we're watching someone just like absolutely make that name for herself, and someone who got this award in a year where she probably shouldn't. There's also that layer, right? Like here's all these things can be true at once. And when you're talking about body of work and typically what voters look at, didn't add up to me. This isn't the like who is the great player consistently. A lot of time in the voting, people are looking at the resume, the medals that are around the neck, the titles that have been lifted. And for Bon Mati, being in a couple of iconic finals and not getting it done, especially in the Euros where arguably some of her other midfield teammates had much better tournaments, it didn't line up for me. And I thought, surely there's no way this could be set up perfectly for the voting on a platter, because you had a teammate of hers and Caldente on the national team equally prevalent in all of these things, but has those medals, has the titles and the performances to go with them. And you thought, surely, you know,
it was a layup.
It would go there. No, talk about like missing it completely. Like I'm still hearing the vibration of the rim being missed. Like like, you know, here we are days later and it's still relevant. You're like asking us our vibes of it. So I'm sure, and the thing about this is I'm sure Bon Mati is gonna win more of these, you know?
Yeah.
And we're gonna maybe look back on some of these things and say that was the one that was a little unserious.
So you thought Caldente as well. That's who I thought. Well, I thought she had it in the bag. I thought 1 and 2 was Caldente and Russo. Lori, did you think the same?
Yeah, no, I thought Caldente. We are actually am on like a MLS chat too, and Nate Bacady, who you both know,
love Nate.
was like, Lori, who do you think? And I was giving my reasons why Caldente, and I like what you were saying because it does now have like. It does spark all these other sub conversations from all of this, right? Why we only have the 50 journalists that are voting for the women's side. Also, how much are they paying attention to all the reasons that you just mentioned? Because as good as I think Bonmatí is, that doesn't take away from, I do believe she is one of the best players in the world. But if you're looking at the specific timeline, typically from August to the following like springtime, right, when they're doing the voting of this, yeah, she was injured. She didn't win the championships like you expect. Caldente made the move to Arsenal, won Champions League, had an exceptional year. You can say that about her performance at the Euros as well. So to me, again, it was kind of like an obvious win, but also really unfortunate. And that's why I pointed to what you were saying, Sandra, about just the sub conversations. Also not surprising, right?
Not surprising at all. And our girl Marta deserves to be in the top 5, in my opinion. 100%. Copa America, NWSL champion, retired, came out of retirement. I mean, an absolute legend. But we do get to talk about the legendary Marta because San Diego Wave and Orlando Pride are going to be playing on Golazo.net this Friday, as well as Washington Spirit versus Houston Dash on Paramount Plus this Sunday, and Seattle Reign versus North Carolina Courage also on Golazo.net. So let's get into San Diego versus Orlando Pride. Whew. Teams, I think, have had moments of brilliance this season, but have recently really, really taken a dip. And yes, San Diego coming off of a tie, which felt like a win, which isn't a great sign for a team that I think in the first half of the season, we were so impressed with their style of play. They were bagging goals left and right, developing their young talent. And they've kind of fallen off. And Orlando Pride, since losing Barbara Banda to injury, have been winless in 9, which is crazy coming from the current NWSL champions. They play this weekend. Who do you guys think needs this win more? Not just based on standings, but even just team morale. Lori, who do you think they have to do this to turn this latter half of the season around?
Orlando. Yeah. I mean, and I think we were saying this after on the recap show on Sunday too, is just like, they need something, right? Because right now it's not, I mean, obviously Barbara Banda, and we can talk this till like we're blue in the face, but like she is a huge miss. And we're seeing that every single week for this team, and just how important she was to their attack. But at the same time, this team is still having moments of playing well. They're getting chances. They're getting unlucky at sometimes too. You're getting Macy Bell clearing the ball off the goal line. So there's stuff that's happening like that. That's just really unfortunate. But I think at this point in time, one, if they're going to keep themselves above the playoff line, they have to get some sort of result in this game, because the tough part with Orlando is they also have CONCACAF Champions Cup that they're dealing with. So it's not just the NWSL play and coming down to the wire. It's game congestion. It's San Diego on the road. It's then CONCACAF Champions Cup on the road midweek, and then Houston on the road. So it is not going to get any easier. And I think when you look at the San Diego team, even though they're at home, given where they have been and just a little bit of up and down with their performances, this is the opportunity for Orlando to just get something, right? Just get some sort of result and get some belief so that they can like try to sway this trajectory or reestablish some sort of hold on this season so far.
Let me get all my chips and just double down with Lori real quick, because I think that's sort of the insight going into this one. Like, you're looking at the table, you're looking at the weeks that are left, which is the team that needs it more. And I think you can argue that both of them need a win. Yes, San Diego is also struggling. You know, they're winless in their last 5. When you look at Orlando, winless in their last 9. But if you're looking at that schedule ahead for Orlando, as Lori alluded to, it's like this is the game that's kind of feels like the must win, because this isn't going to be just like, you know, 3 games over the course of like, let's say like 10 days. Like, no, they're crammed in there. Like, that game is going to come against Houston on a Friday, and that is an incredibly difficult place to play. But Orlando has just it just looks more, it's this combination that is more than missteps. You know, it's like they become this team that we look at their play and they become like this kind of fine margins kind of team. And it's like, that's a dangerous game to play. It's like, you want to like be competitive and win in these certain areas on the pitch and in the stat categories. And surely if you just keep chugging along, right? Like those things are going to come your way, the points, the wins. But the problem with that is even within some of those fine margins and the decent play or the stretches of decent play that we're seeing, they're not coming. Yeah. And now you've got a 9-game winless streak. And again, like you said, blue to the face with Banda. It's like, this is a player who is so good that her presence on the pitch was already making up for the absence of, or the loss of, like, an Adriana at one point, and it's just like, that's how good this player is, that it was just like, okay, well, we're going to lose this kind of piece coming into this next season. And that happens. Teams win titles and then the roster changes. Like it happens. That's pro sporting business. But when you have a Barbara Banda, you're like, we can do it. Don't worry about it. Marta can have, like, the Copa Americas and like have these exhaustive kind of tournaments and come back, because we've got Banda, and there will be like a scaled balance, like where you're just kind of teetering and tottering in one way or the other because of a Banda. And then when you lose that, it unfortunately becomes a little bit more glaring. And despite the move for Ovalle and like the very kind of small boost that's given, I think I've said this previously, it's those are not the shoes that she was signed to fill. This is a player that they had their eyes on for a long time, and the timing of things just coincided in the fact that there was an injury to Banda. And so, like, it's great to see like some budding chemistry, right, with like Ovalle and Watt, but I can't help but keep an eye on the future. And I'm like, Allie Watt's not even going to be there next year.
She's going to be gone.
Yeah. What is being built here? So I think in terms of the week in front of them, this one is absolutely the must win for Orlando. And so I think the energy I had in this one, Darian, was like, maybe it was going to be a little bit of a mid-off because we have two teams who are struggling. But when I had more time to think about it, I was like, no, this is going to be like the desperation match, because they both really need this win. So we could get some fireworks, I think.
To be honest, everybody needs a win, though, in that group and like within this mix, because I mean, if let's say Orlando does get a win, right? Well, then that puts them on such a better place in the standings, but then that forces everybody else that's in that mix too. So it's like really these last 5 games are must win for that entire group in there to stay afloat, but also just not to give any sort of leverage to any other team that's fighting for those positions as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's only a handful of points from 3rd place with Gotham, tied with Portland and San Diego at 31, to 8th place North Carolina at 28, with Houston right behind them at a 26. And even looking at the remainder of both their schedules, Orlando have Houston next, Portland, Washington Spirit, and then Seattle. Meanwhile, San Diego have Washington Spirit, Utah Royals, Chicago, and KC Current. I mean, that's a hell of a way to end your regular season. That's tough. But every other team has stepped up so much. And looking just at the standings, San Diego in 5th, Orlando in 7th, they have a little bit more of a cushion. They've done well enough earlier in the season to not have as much panic as Orlando. So I agree with you both. But Sandra, you said it well, thought it was going to be a mid-off, but you got to throw everything out the wall for this match. These are probably the most critical points that you need to gain going into hopefully a postseason, because it's that close. Who do you guys think, though, in the absence of Banda, Ovalle's there, Marta, who really needs to step up for Orlando? Because I would say Marta, but even watching her play with the team looks so visibly frustrated with the level that the team is at and their lack of scoring. I think lack of anticipation of what's happening. I think the team just looks very mentally fatigued at this point in the season. And I don't know who I can look at on the Pride right now and think, oh, they're going to lead the team at this moment. Marta's doing, I think, the best she can. But if there's not someone that's able to put those chances away, you kind of succumb to the defeat, I think, mentality a little bit. And it looks exhausting. But I don't know who you guys think would be the player to step up. Lori, if you have anyone that you look at the roster and think could do it for them.
Yeah, I think, it's cliche because it's like everybody, right? You just there needs to be just like a common understanding to like keep going. But if I'm picking out one player, it might be Allie Watt, because she does have the tools to be able to. So this is why I say Allie Watt, because she has played out wide majority of the time when Barbara Banda was still healthy. And then they moved her into the center forward position against Bay and North Carolina. And especially against Bay, not so much in North Carolina. I didn't feel like she got on the ball enough. I didn't feel like she was able to stretch it and really challenge the center backs of North Carolina consistently. But she does have the tools to be able to alleviate pressure for them. And I think if I'm specifically talking about the San Diego game, some of the teams have done well against San Diego is they've sat back, absorbed a lot of the attacks of San Diego, and been compact defensively and just kind of frustrated them. And then force them to send either like whipping balls in or crosses from distance. And so I'm saying if Orlando can handle that, then one of the ways that they can alleviate pressure if they do go to San Diego and at times are just compact is stretch the game. And that's going to have to be through Allie Watt. And one of the things that I felt like Barbara Banda has done outside of her ability to score goals consistently, she makes everybody better because she opens up space. Mm-hmm. Marta's able to play off of her. That's why I feel like Marta is a bit frustrated now because there's no one that I feel like she feels like she can combine with and at least alleviate the first line of pressure and then get the ball back and then start to operate like we know Marta does. Same with Ovalle. I feel like Ovalle would already maybe even be at a little bit of a different level if Banda was there because there would be more room underneath. So the reason why I'm saying Allie Watt is for those particular reasons, because I think they're going to have to adjust and at times press, but at times, again, the San Diego game, maybe absorb some of those pressure and then spring Allie Watt. And that's where in these moments, when it's pressure, you know the pressure is getting to this team, they're emotionally and physically fatigued, then somebody has to be just like, okay, I'm going to need to just compose myself in these moments when we're needed most. And if Allie's playing that center forward position, then that's going to have to be her because she is more often than not going to be the one that's in front of goal. And even if she's not going to be here next year, well, listen, now's the time to make your presence known before you make your way to Denver.
Yeah, that's the opportunity, right? Mm-hmm. Like you want to showcase a little bit of that, of what's coming to Denver. There's more to play for there, I think, in terms of individual performance for Watt. But I think in a week like this too, like you kind of got to rally your depth players a little bit and challenge them to kind of embrace the role and the moment a little bit. You know, Summer Yates is someone who has kind of had to work her way back into form. We saw her have an incredible 2024 season, but has had to kind of make her way back from an injury sustained late last year. And so we're seeing her get, minutes in as a sub, and you could see some of that spark being
surprised she's not getting more minutes, right?
Me too.
And so maybe there's a little bit of that, where like it's go time now. And maybe, it's like it's like in hockey when you're like pulling the goalkeeper or down a goal and you just want to jar your team up and do it and like shake it up. Like maybe that's what it's going to take. It's going to have to take some plugging in new players into that starting lineup, because I would argue that their usual suspects in the starting 11 have some of that mental fatigue that the two of you have made a point of talking about. So it's like if that's what you're seeing, you have to note that. You have to clock it, as the staff. You have to say, all right, let's present these opportunities for our depth players, and let's see what they can do.
The only other one I'll add is Angelina. She has international experience. Like you need somebody right now to the point about Summer Yates that's going to just help keep the ball moving. She gave up some silly fouls, got Manaka at times against the North Carolina game.
The frustration.
And there's frustration there too. But I feel like with her international experience, one of the more mature midfielders, or for sure on that team, then that's when you just need to kind of steady the ship in the midfield.
Yeah, I think Summer Yates was my player too, Sandra. I think anybody that alleviates the weight of let's just give the ball to Marta, make magic happen. Everybody knows Marta's going to make magic happen. Teams adjust the way they play when she's on the pitch. So someone else that can be creative, take the load off, also distribute the ball, make it not so stale in the way that they're playing right now, I think is going to be the game changer. But another team that's been stale the last, 6 matches they've played, the last win they had was against Bay FC in mid-August, I believe, is San Diego. We have to talk about them a little bit because this team that was so exciting to me the first half of the season. And then I don't know if it's just a younger squad and this long NWSL season where you're playing so many games, teams adjust, teams acquire players that change the way that they play, mentality shifts. San Diego have just fallen off. But this to me could be a big game for San Diego as well to push themselves over that playoff line, giving them security to make playoffs. How do you guys think that they're going to be able to do it against the Pride? Do you think they have a better chance beating the Pride than any other time in the season right now?
I think like with the game at home, that's probably like the conversation a little bit around that. The fact that there's just 5 weeks left, what are those opportunities in front of a team? And this is one of them. This is the game that feels like the trajectory shifter game for both teams here.
Yeah.
And
feels like decision day a little bit.
Exactly. You have to go into this game with that mentality, especially if you're the home side, especially if your MVP caliber player in Cascarino is navigating a lower leg injury. You know, like you have to, like the mindset has to shift in that sense. Like, you know, you don't want to make the comparison game of like Bandit to Orlando or Cascarino to the Wave, but I mean, like, this is the player that was providing
it's a team defining player.
Yes, the playmaking, the creativity, the razzle dazzle, like whatever you want to call it, like that's what, you know, Cascarino brought and brings to the team. And so I think like even coming off of their last performance against the Thorns, you know, just narrow draw, like just kind of, and letting the mental lapses, right? Like the equalizer coming in a late game situation, you know, off of a dead ball situation with a free kick, like that can't happen in the 86th minute, you know, when you're trying to defend a lead. So
that to me is why they seem like still such a young team.
Yeah. And I do think that, you know, McCaskill getting that goal, I thought could be a little bit of foreshadowing. Like, I think that's what it's going to have to take, to your point about being a young team. You're going to need those players who know what it feels like to play in this final 5 match weeks of the season, like what it is to compete and like kind of like the little baby post-season energy that exists. And those are the players that I think San Diego are going to need to rely on and have these very, very good performances down the stretch. And I think you could maybe argue that like Kenza Dali can be in that equation, but even though she's a veteran player, this is like year 1 of NWSL play for her. So, you know, anyone that's, you know, has had those experiences down the stretch, needing to perform in these big moments of the final 5 weeks, McCaskill, Leon, I would even argue like McNabb, you know, on
Where's
the back
Gia
line.
Corley gone?
Yeah. I mean, they took
She
her
was
out, right?
balling in the first half of the season.
Yeah, I think but that's the biggest thing, right, with San Diego, when you think about this young team and when teams start to adjust, how do you find other ways to score? And I think one thing that we don't probably talk about enough too is how long the season is and what that means for a lot of these players that are new to either rookies or new to the league in terms of managing games, managing it in different ways. And then when you start to stall in terms of production, then how are you able to adjust your game, especially with attackers, to be able to still, you know, score goals and be productive? And I think that's one of the things that has, and why I mentioned sometimes when teams go and play against San Diego now, if they do sit back and don't give a ton of space, what's the evolution then in the attack for them? Because if they're just whipping balls in at times, or they've lost some of the intricacies of the way that they play, or that's taken away, then you have to be creative enough to be able to find other ways to score.
I know we got to pivot, but Darian, I want to hear you on this because I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Are we seeing a little bit of Jonas Ball for San Diego? What are we seeing? What's the disconnect that we're seeing from sideline to the pitch?
They've run out of ideas.
They've
completely run out of ideas. I think the reason I said this is a really young team, a young squad, first time in NWSL as their head coach. This is a long season, y'all. It is long. Teams completely adjust. A mentality switch for a squad can put them from 13th to 8th in a matter of a couple of weeks. You have to be on your A game consistently. And I think San Diego, we were all stunned. We had low expectations first half of the season. They came and they played this beautiful style of football. Well, it can lull you to sleep. Teams have figured it out. When you don't have a magician on the pitch that's constantly doing something, like a Dali or whoever's on their team, they fall off. So who's going to step up? So now they've resorted to this kind of suffer pass, whip a ball in, but we don't have the biggest squad in the NWSL. It's not always going to work out. It's a little bit of suffer ball. So that's why I think this game is actually really open for the Pride. I think the Pride can do it if there's an opportunity to switch this mentality around. And I like that you gave Ali Watt a shout to stretch them. It's the time to do it because this team also, San Diego's not that organized defensively. We've seen, at least not for 90 minutes. There are huge vulnerabilities. So I'm rocking with the Pride. Let's get into score predictions. I think the Pride can win 2-1 this weekend, this Friday.
Let's get wild, man. 3-3 draw. Make it feel bad. Make it feel bad all the way down the stretch. Let's go.
Oh goodness, I was gonna go with a 1-1 draw.
Okay.
Boo!
I just feel like, it's a travel for Orlando and then San Diego. Depending on what Orlando does defensively, going. Right. It is not an exciting score, but I'm going with it. A 3-3.
3-3, but it's not impossible.
No, it's not.
Oh, hilarious. Okay, 2 draws and 1 win. Come on, Pride. I have faith. Girls can do it. All right, some other matches this weekend. Washington Spirit versus Houston Dash. Washington Spirit crushing it right now, firing on all cylinders. Coming off of a draw, though, they show vulnerabilities in the back. In Houston, especially with Yasmin Ryan, talk about finally finding her groove with Houston. This is the OG Yaz we saw with Gotham in her last season with them. And she's finally looking confident, scoring goals, leading this team. Spirit can clinch with a couple different scenarios. But I want to know, do you think that Houston are going to pose a real challenge at Rowdy Audi? Lori, do you think that they'll be able to, do something there with that crowd behind them?
Yeah, I certainly do. Just the way that this Chicago team has built in the second half. I mean, same with Washington. I mean, haven't lost since the break. What is it? 1 loss for for Houston since the break. So I do. But I think when you look at where we are in the season, if they win or draw, I believe is the scenarios for Washington at home. No doubt is the fan's going to be behind Rowdy Audi, as you say. I mean, that place is loud. That place is rocking when the stadium is full. It is so fun. It's electric. Mm-hmm. And I think Washington is going to be up for that. And that will be at this time period in the season, that will be the differentiator. I don't know if we're doing predictions now, but I'm going to go 2-1 in favor of Washington because I still think Washington, even though they've cleaned things up defensively compared to the first half of the season, where strange, what?
Feels like a different year almost.
Yeah, I'm like, hold on. But one thing that we do know currently is that Adrian Gonzalez is more structured and wanted to get a handle on things defensively. We've still seen that, but there's still some vulnerabilities. So, and I think where Houston is right now, to your point about Yasmin Ryan and her form, they know it's do or die for them as well. So they're going to be hunting. They're going to do whatever they can. But I think with the 12th player and the fans at Rowdy Audi going in favor of Washington to clinch playoffs, especially in front of their home fans.
Yeah, I think there's stakes for both teams in this one. Houston obviously wants to keep pace in the race for the postseason, but there's probably no greater motivator than knowing you could just get your playoff mission accomplished at home during a specific game with some match weeks in front of you, especially for a Washington Spirit side that has found themselves needing to manage players throughout the season, and they'll probably have to continue to do that, whether or not they get the clinch at home. Houston's a tough place to play at, but Rowdy Audi has definitely emerged as one of those places that it's become incredibly difficult for opposing teams to kind of function or figure out how to make their way through a full 90 minutes. But I have to feel that not only with the high stakes for the Spirit, their performance from the week before, just kind of having to settle for that 2-2 draw, kind of getting a little bit razzled or frazzled, and as far as their positioning, on the forced own goal.
Those are your buzzwords.
Listen,
today.
I'm getting some razzle and dazzle in
razzling and dazzling.
You saw the musical Chicago recently or something.
You know what? I do love a musical, but you could just sort of see, kind of just. I don't want to say that that was the way that game was going to go down, but in Angel City's efforts, and some of the Spirit's shape, you're just kind of like, that almost wasn't, it didn't feel too shocking, like to see that kind of like happened. This is not the first time that we've seen this kind of like unfortunate own goal happen on a on the fall of like a Spirit backline or some of that position. So I do wonder if like those are those things where it's like you need to have that tape. You need to go over that and say like, here's what we don't want to have, happen down the stretch. And if you've got Yasmin Ryan getting hot at the right time for Houston Dash, you absolutely need to make sure you're on your P's and Q's for your defensive shape. So I do wonder if there could be a little bit of a back and forth in this one. But I just think as far as roster to roster, the Spirit just have so much more to offer. And they've got players who are rising at the right time. Getting Deb Abiodun in and like seeing what she can provide in the middle for the Spirit, I think is massive. And I don't see Houston as having those kind of like enforcers in the middle third right now to maybe kind of go toe to toe with the Spirit's heavyweights in their midfield. So I think Spirit take this one at home. I'll go 2-1.
2-1 to Spirit. Wait, Lori, remind me of yours?
Yeah, 2-1. 2-1.
I'm going to go 3-1.
Oh,
I think
okay.
you've got Rowdy Audi behind you.
4-4 draw.
Trinity scoring. Lacey Santos is probably going to score. I just think Spirit have in the bag. And I think if you look at Houston, the way I would approach the game, shut down Yaz. Shut down Yaz. Who else is going to score? Try to button up defending crosses, get body positioning right. That's kind of been a crux for them all season long. I think Spirit's got it. I think we'll see Spirit clinch this weekend. Two other teams we need to talk about. Gotham, Portland Thorns. Thorns have one win in their last 5 matches and haven't won on the road against Gotham since 2021. That's insane. That looms over you as a player going into a match.
Yeah.
Odds that Portland can get a win. I think Gotham has not been an exciting team. Talk about one of the most inconsistent teams, especially in the goal scoring front when Esther's not the one putting away all of their chances. But they do have a Jaden Shaw. They have a Rose Lavelle who's maintained, knock on wood, everybody. Knock on some wood. She's been healthy. She stayed healthy. Scoring a goal last week. Looking like her old self. Could Portland go to Gotham and do it? Or are we just writing that off? Sandra, you're smirking. Tell me what you're thinking.
I don't know. I think like I had the energy with San Diego and Orlando initially. Like, is this going to be a mid-off? And I don't want to think that like two teams who are in far better playoff position than those teams could be the mid-off. But I do have a concern that like there might be some careful play in this one between these two sides because of the threats that exist in that midfield. You're talking about Rose Lavelle. Jaden Shaw has already shown that she got involved in this move to make an impact, to make a run, and she already looks like a different player with this Gotham side. And then you have this Portland side that also has, juggernauts in the midfield in Sam Coffey, and you have we are witnessing Olivia Moultrie kind of shaking off that early form and becoming this very consistent player for the Thorns down the stretch. So I think it's going to be won and or lost in that middle, but I can't help but give a little bit of that edge to Gotham in this one. Even if they maybe have hit a couple bumps, I don't think that's uncommon in their story of 2025. I think they have shown that they can hang tough, essentially. And I think this is going to be another one of those games for them where they just kind of squeak it out. So I'm going to go with them, and I'm going to say maybe a 1-0.
Ugh. Boring game. Lori, give us an exciting score.
Okay. No, I actually think that's a fair shout that it might not be the prettiest game. And partially just given that, one, I really like this Portland team. I've liked how they have moved through this season, especially with their midfield. But one win in last 5. Also, can't count out the West to East Coast travel right now, given that form, but also this period of the season. I think that's really challenging. So it's not a surprise that they haven't won at Gotham, in my opinion. And also, I mean, you alluded to this too, Sandra, is even if it's a little bit of disconnect, we saw that last weekend for Gotham against Bay. With all these players and exceptional players that they have in the attack, we're still not seeing like a complete rhythm and like connections that come seamlessly or easeful, I would say. But they have these individual players that have so much talent that when you need it, they have the ability to take this game and say, okay, I'm going to win it, right? Whether it's Roosevelt, whether it's Stair, Jaden Shaw now, Jalen Howell playing a part is like breaking things up in the midfield. So I'm going to go with this is going to be a tight game. It might not be the prettiest game either. But I'm going to go, and I hate to say it because I would like to see Portland maybe win this game just to change things up. But I'm going to go 2-0 Gotham.
Woo. Okay, we got one more goal. I'm going 3-1 Gotham. I'm repeating my last
I love it.
Right.
Because using Sandra's words, they've got some razzle dazzle up top. I think Midge Purse is cooking. He's getting end line. Jaden Shaw's finding her way. Rose Lavelle is healthy. Knock on wood again, everybody.
Razzle dazzle.
Yeah, Esther in that golden boot race. I think they've got it. And Portland, that travel's brutal. That travel, the time change, it's tough. It's not an easy stadium to play at for some reason. It's like one of those ones that you just go and you like immediately feel tired, kind of like a Houston as well.
You totally do. That's exactly right.
Yeah, I don't know why, because the crowd's not massive, but you're like tired walking on the pitch. I don't know what it is. Something in the air. But okay, I absolutely love this. We have some more razzle dazzle coming up next because Sandra Herrera and Lisa Carlin got to interview Brianna Pinto. So we're going to talk about her match with the Courage versus Seattle Reign next. Stick with us.
You can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus. So even if you can't count on accurate expiration dates,
that is a rookie mistake,
or people appreciating your fashion sense,
Jim, the crowd is not on board here.
you can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS, streaming on Paramount Plus.
Glad we wear our good jerseys.
Yeah.
What's up, friends? Welcome back to A3. Okay, like I said, we are going to be talking about Seattle Reign versus North Carolina Courage. Two teams in that playoff crunch. Seattle at 6th, North Carolina in 8th right now, right on the line. North Carolina getting some momentum despite losing their head coach, massive injuries to their squad, trading away Jaden Shaw, who, I mean, she wasn't playing with them, really. She was coming in as a late sub, which is wild to say, with a team that was struggling. But they have turned it around and been a formidable team to go against, home or away. Seattle, not an exciting team to watch, in my opinion. I don't know if the chemistry up top isn't working or they just need more time, because you look at the stars that they have that are game changers and it's just not coming together. Who do you guys think has more of an edge in this match? I mean, traveling from East Coast to West Coast, Lori, you brought this up a couple of times, is brutal. Going to Lumen, playing on turf. Yeah. Do you give the edge to Seattle in this match?
I give the for those two reasons. Yeah, I don't think they. I thought they were going to be a much more exciting team as well, and just hasn't proven to be that. They've dropped points in bizarre ways sometimes, and just haven't been able to really string much of a threat outside of like Jess Fishlock come up with some important moments in the attack. So, but even with that said, I do think it's a tough travel for North Carolina. I like what they have done recently, given all the things that you just said too, with, personnel changes, the dismissal, the firing of Sean Nahas, but Manaka, outstanding. I mean, my goodness, when you're talking about players stepping up, Manaka has been just magnificent. And there is a different bite to their defense now. Nat Jacobs has made her way from Houston. Now, it'll be interesting to see actually how that plays out, because I feel like once you start building momentum, it's tough now to integrate in a new player. She came in and made a huge save with her head against Orlando late in that game. So it's not that she hasn't played a few minutes and end up being an important few minutes, but typically I would give the advantage to North Carolina just now that they've had two really good results, especially one of them being away at Orlando. But away games have been an issue. Even dating back to last season, goodness, that was not a good situation for North Carolina on the road last year or this year. So I'm going to say Laura Harvey's going to rally this team. I think they're going to have an edge to them and squeak out something. it might not be pretty either. And it might
It's
be
another mid-game.
I'm even thinking, what did I have done? I felt like I wrote, actually I had a 1-1 tie, but I even might put it at zeros. I might even have it 0-0, everybody. I think exactly. Last game of the weekend. Listen, keep those eyes open. Here we go.
It's just been downhill for me ever since I said that 3-3 draw for San Diego.
You set the tone.
I set the tone, and then I said, nope, we're going straight down. Highs and lows. Highs and lows, baby.
Just trying to reinvigorate us all. She's
just
like 3-1.
Very just reflective of a long NWSL season. I got highs and lows too. I can't help but feel like this one being in Seattle might tip those scales a little bit. They're better at home. I shout out to our producer Adri. I don't know if we can get the stat for them at home. And what is better at home for Seattle? Is it draw after draw or
good question?
Or what? Right. So, but I just can't help but feel like how they've been operating. I think it's hard to deny who Jess Fishlock is and what she can do for this team. And watching her come into games off the bench and kind of be that spark plug has aided them. And I do wonder if this is a game that is gearing itself up to be built that way, where maybe we just get some feeling each other out in the first half, and it is going to take a second half adjustment for either team. Will that be Jess Fishlock for Seattle? I guess that remains to be seen. Will that be something like a Linehan for the Courage? A player that was acquired by them and is also getting acclimated to minutes with the team. I mean, I don't think we can deny what Matsukubo has been doing for the Courage. Incredible performances. But I do have concerns about the performance that she could potentially give or not give on that kind of travel, playing on sort of like, what does it look like? What does it feel like for that player? Does it affect their playmaking and their creativity? So I do wonder if this will play itself perfectly into how we have seen Seattle play at times. We have seen them be a little bit more organized, a little bit more defensively sound, and especially kind of like they've kind of needed to like be that way with the goal scoring not being there. They're just like not getting goals. And in fairness to North Carolina, they're not having these like wild, scoreline, like massive goal scoring types of matches. So I think in this one, sorry, D, it's going to be another narrow one. I think it's going to be Seattle. I think it's going to be 1-0 unless Brianna Pinto plays. She might have a say in something.
Okay. Yes.
That's a good
she's the X factor of that team. Whether she's starting or she's coming off the bench, I feel like she brings a new tempo to the side. And Sandra, perfect transition because you guys got to talk to her and she talked about the ambitions and the run of their current form. So let's listen to a clip from her and then we'll talk about it after this.
Yeah, it's such a cool announcement that has come out and we're happy to chat with you about it. Now, you did say, regardless of your team's going to be in the championship, there's still time, Brianna. North Carolina Courage right now.
I fully plan on us playing on it.
There we go.
Let me be very clear. But I will be there.
There we go. I mean, yeah, North Carolina's in the middle of this playoff push.
Oh, no, we're going to make a run. I should be very clear. We intend on getting hot right at the right time, winning the rest of our league games, and going from there. So, again, I want to play there.
Okay, I love to hear that. I got to ask you about it because North Carolina, it's very believable that you guys can make it to the championship and be competing in that, considering the recent resurgence, back-to-back wins, you're 8th in the standings, you're pushing into that playoff position. What has been the resurgence that the Courage has had as of late?
It's just the belief in one another that we can find a way. I think this is such a fun league because, again, as we're seeing, the teams at the bottom can beat the teams at the top and vice versa. And it ensures that every team brings their best week in and week out. And I think we're finding our form. We've dealt with a few injuries here and there, but, that's just part of it. And I think the identity of the Courage is a team that's resilient, that's going to find a way, that's going to grind through the tough weeks. And I think we're doing that at a really important time. And hopefully we can take to the last 2 wins and build off of that so that we can continue to climb up the table, because it is so tight. If you look at the table, there's only a few points difference between like 8 and like 4.
I love that. First of all, I love Bri Pinto because she's so matter of fact. I'm here for the confidence. Expect to see us there. We want to be there. Yeah. We're going to do it. It's such a good sign, I think, for the mentality of a team that hasn't been great. And then after all that they've gone through, to still have that confidence and prove it on the pitch, especially with their last 2 really big wins, is so nice to see. But Lori, what did you make of her and the confidence of this team? Do you think that they can do it? Because their remaining schedule is Seattle, Louisville, Washington Spirit, Bay, and Gotham. Me looking at that, I'm like, that's actually really probable of this squad. They could draw/win out of that. Very likely. I think the odds are in their favor.
Yeah, I absolutely do. Especially when you think about the history of this team too. There's like a championship mentality, and there's players that are still within this team, even though there's been a lot of change, that know that, right? In these moments. And even if it's just the last 2 games where they feel like, okay, we're starting to build momentum, that's huge compared to all the teams in these the games coming up this weekend that we've already talked about, right? There's quite a few teams that are not having that same momentum and confidence. So that alone separates them. But I do love that shout about Brianna Pinto being the X factor, because it's just been fun to see kind of the evolution of her within this team too, primarily playing as a midfielder, but now more as that center forward that drops in. So it's more of like a false 9. But consistently every year, I feel like when this team needs goals, Brianna Pinto has stepped up and provided that in situations where it's pressurized and you just need to get some sort of scrappy goal. And you can just see how she continues to elevate this team. And that's what's going to be needed. So I love that confidence. I do feel like that they could, I think they'll definitely get themselves into the playoffs. Championship win, we shall see, because it's going to be I'll be really curious to see like what the matchups are when then. But I think I can very easily see them putting themselves above that playoff line, keeping themselves above that playoff line.
You too, Sandra, you got that vibe?
Listen, I was there in the interview with Pinto. I was motivated. I was like, yeah, this is the energy. This is the energy, because with what's left in front of the season for any team, and you find yourself in contention in that playoff race, you have to have that mentality. Mm-hmm. And I think it speaks volumes, like it's cranked up when you have a player who has mostly been a player for that team. It speaks to some of the mentality and the messaging out of that locker room a little bit. And it is contagious. So yeah, it's not going to be easy. Seattle needs to watch out.
No, that's a good point. Cable 33 put in the chat, the Courage are the sum of their parts. They play together. Can't focus on one player. Facts.
Yeah.
Seattle, on the other hand, I think you can try to cut out Jess Fishlock.
Yeah. Pluck. Mm-hmm.
And who's going to score? So you already got the vibe I'm giving, but you guys got to talk to her about the Seattle match. So let's hear what she has to say.
Yeah, the future is absolutely bright for this league and for all the players in it. I have to ask about immediate future, because North Carolina against Seattle this weekend, it's a big game coming up, chance in the playoffs, a push for the postseason. What is going to be the biggest challenge that North Carolina has to overcome this weekend in order to make it 3 straight wins?
We need to be clinical in front of net. I think we've got a team that's defended really well, especially in our last game versus Orlando, but we need to put away our chances and create more volume in front of goal. And we need to make sure we keep the ball because Seattle's a very talented team. They've got a lot of players that can impact the game. So we just need to make sure that we're on it from the opening whistle and go in there and fight till the final moment of the game.
If I'm Seattle, I'm shaking in my boots a little bit because this team just looks just with Bree. First of all, she's always confident. She always gives confidence to me. But for her to be so definite and very clear in what they need to get better at and that they're going to be doing it, they want to be in playoffs. I think I'm rocking with the courage on this one. Obviously, we didn't interview a Seattle player, so that's a little different. But just that energy.
We both went Seattle near our scorelines. You going with Rock and Courage this one?
I'm rocking the courage.
Right.
I am going with the courage. I'll actually say 2-0 to the courage. I think, you know what, you come in, they're probably working on scoring goals all week, traveling to Seattle. Yes, it sucks. That travel's brutal. To play on turf is also brutal. But I love what Cable 33 said. They're a sum of their parts. There's not one player you can cut out and think, that's it, we've got it in the bag. Especially with players coming back, being healthy off of injury. This team just has layers to them. So I'm going to go 2-0. I don't know if I'm being realistic, but
I like it.
I'm
here for it.
Yeah.
At this point,
who cares if it's realistic?
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yep.
Giving them the razzle dazzle.
Jazz hands. Give me the jazz hands.
Razzle dazzle predictions.
That's right.
That should be the title of today's show, actually.
New segments.
Right. Well, we actually do have a new segment coming up next. Improbable, but not impossible. Shout out to Audrey, our producer, for coming up with this. It's going to be fun. So stick with us after this quick break. Welcome back, friends. Okay, let's jump into this game. I love when we play games on Attacking Third. And Lori, is this your first time playing a game on the show? I feel like you're usually just on the recaps.
Yeah, this is the first time. So let's razz.
Okay. You've set something off in this, and I absolutely love it. I'm gonna go watch the Chicago musical after this. Okay, to start, first we're gonna discuss improbable events, but that are not impossible, to see how likely they are to come to fruition. So first off, shout out to Audrey. Love this. Lori, we're going to come to you first since it's your first time playing games.
Yeah.
Utah make the playoffs and can finish high as third.
So I say impossible or like, what am I saying? Just like it's going to happen or it's not going to happen? Is that what?
That's a good question. Let's say improbable or possible.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's both, but improbable. Improbable. I love their run. We saw this last year. They went on the streak at the second part of the season. Tanaka finishing just galazos, but I'm going to say improbable.
Yeah,
I mean, they've only got 18 points.
Yeah. I think, and not only that, like
I'm gonna melt. Like
I'll definitely be like, what? Yeah, you just like you have to also look at like who's in front of them. Like it's almost like we can take that team out and maybe put another team in, as far as like, you know, we can put like Houston Dash there, right? Instead of like Utah Royal. Like, so I just think with the time that's left remaining in the season,
they have 3 away games out of the
who's
5.
in front of them, I think, is it improbable? Sure. Do I think it's gonna happen? No.
Nar. We're all going Nar. Utah has surprised us, and we did have a lot of Utah players in our best weekly 11 last week. Shout out to the people in the chat who's saying there's a lot of Utah slander. There isn't. A lot of them are on. In fact, Tanaka was in there twice, so they're killing it. They're killing it. There's no rules to this game. Exactly. But no, they're not placing third. Sorry, a little bit too late. Okay, Sandra, our resident Chicagan.
Chicagoan.
Chicagoan. Ludmila wins Golden Boot.
Oh, wouldn't that be so? That would be that would be like in absolute insanity hours. If you are at a very like you're basically bottom table team and like you have a player who somehow goes off and wins the Golden Boot. But it's crazy because you're like, where is, there's 13 for Chewinga and Esther and Ludmila still on 10, I believe. And it's just like, okay, like she'd have to have like, like a hat trick, or maybe even 2. And then you're like, that's absolutely impossible. But then you realize that like she already did that and she's gone on like a scoring tear. And really
like
it just takes like that one game. And in Ludmila's case, it takes that one game and 10 minutes in that one game. Like it doesn't need a whole lot. I'd love to see it, but I just don't think that's going to happen because, again, of who's in front of her in that race. I think looking at a Chewinga who's like a guaranteed bucket a game at this point, and then you've got Esther who's maybe playing with a little bit of a chip on her shoulder. She is the goal scorer, like she is the offense for Gotham. There's ways in which those players always seem to find themselves on the ball and in good positions to score. And that hasn't always been the case for Chicago with Ludmila. It took a very long time for them to get to that point. So I'd love to see it, but I don't think it's happening.
Lori?
Same. I would love to see it too, because you could listen. I just think it highlights her skills, but also what one player can do. I love Darian's face right now. She's going. Listen,
I'm looking at the remaining 5 games.
What if she goes off against Kansas City tomorrow? Hat trick? Is this what we're saying?
That'd be crazy. That'd be crazy.
This is the one where I'm like, they might get mollywopped in that match. But Utah Royals, Louisville, San Diego,
Angel City.
Yeah. I'm saying there's a chance.
Yeah, there's a chance. And I think like when you look at some of those performances they have had against those teams, not great performances by the Stars. They've always, for some reason, have found struggle against Racing Louisville. Maybe that's the game that Louisville have circled on their calendar, to try to make sure that they stay relevant. Kansas City Current are just a difficult opponent. I mean, they're Shield winner. They're officially the best team in the league in 2025. Yeah, like I just don't. It's going to be very tough. It's going to be very, very tough.
I know. I got faith.
I got faith. Okay. I love the belief.
Yeah, I've got belief in some goals this weekend. I really, really want it. Okay, next. We already kind of talked about this earlier, so let's just do quick answers. Orlando Pride don't make the playoffs. I'm going to say they don't. I'm going to say they don't make the playoffs. I think it's a little too late. I haven't seen enough to actually be convinced.
I said it earlier, and I can't back down on that now. I said that it was giving a repeat for me. I was like, I've seen this movie before. Like we saw it with Chicago. We've seen them, like we saw them stumble into those playoffs. And I think if Orlando does make the playoffs, it's going to be because they stumble a little bit into those playoffs. But it's wild to think how much that has even shifted now to the point where we're just like, are they even going to make it? So yeah, I'm going to have to lean towards the no as well.
Yeah, when I was looking at this, they also have 3 away games, and they still have Portland, Washington, San Diego, and Houston are away. I just think they also have Seattle at home, but it's just these are tough games no matter what. And I hate to say it, but I don't think they're going to make it either.
3 Nars. Sorry, Pride.
Oh, no.
3 Nars.
Can't wait for this to be clipped.
Yeah. Prepare for the slander.
Yeah, Jesus.
Okay. KC Current don't win the NWSL championship. Sandra, you first.
Oh, goodness gracious. I want it. I'm not going to lie. I want it so bad for Teal City. It's been incredible watching their run. It's wild how many players you can pick out of there, and you could just take Kansas City and be like, here's the first 11 for 2025, NWSL, and everyone else is just competing for a spot on that second best XI. It's like
Right.
crazy, crazy good. But anything can happen in the playoffs. Anything can happen in the playoffs. And
Yeah, it's a new season.
It's like who is in most informed going into that postseason. So I think a lot of it's going to depend on how they manage their players on these final 5 weeks, how the seeding plays out, like who they end up going up against. I think it's helpful that they know they've clinched that number 1 seed. So they're going to be, if you want that title, you have to go through Kansas City until you get to the Bay for the championship final. So despite me knowing all those things, I still have belief in Kansas City. I think they're going to win the championship.
You too, Lori?
Same, yeah. From the very first time I spoke with them, Vlaco and the players this season, the motto was quiet and humble and only focusing on the next game in hand. And I feel like that has been the standard throughout. Even when they dropped the 2 games earlier in the year, it was like, we absolutely don't drop the 3rd game. Doesn't matter if it's a tie, whatever, just regroup, get back. And I feel like tomorrow's going to be a huge test versus Chicago, because I feel like that they might try to do some things defensively. But I think all of these things just prepare Kansas City, to hoisting that trophy at the end.
Kansas City's got it in the bag. I don't think anybody's knocking them off this pedestal that they've set themselves on. Plus, they've managed their players incredibly well all season. So to peak at the right time, have a healthy squad, I think they got it in the bag. Okay, these next ones, super quick. An American wins the next Ballon d'Or. No, I don't think that's happening. I don't think that's probable.
No, the next year, though?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
You got
so much needs to change with the Ballon d'Or, but we all agree on that, nah?
Yep.
26, no, 27, maybe.
Yep.
Okay, I'm
Great.
here for that. Alexia Putellas plays in the NWSL in 2026.
If she doesn't go to Liga MX Femenil, yes.
I say also similar to the Ballon d'Or is no, but maybe in a few years.
Yeah, maybe in a few years, not anytime soon. I can't even imagine what team she would go on. Maybe LA?
Maybe LA, maybe
Gotham.
Bay.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah,
Gotham.
like somewhere, it's like near a cool city.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Going from
I
Barcelona.
mean, there's a couple. I think Roosevelt's contract is up in 26. I think.
Facts.
So, yeah,
Facts.
maybe.
And with Juan Carlos, another
Yeah.
Spanish
Esther.
coach. Esther.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll see.
It could happen. All right. Last but not least, Lindsey Herrera joins Denver Summit for 2026. I don't think in her first.
Yeah, I was going to say not 2026, but is it all the answers are the same? But maybe in 2027.
Yeah. Not now.
She's keeping tabs, but not right now.
Nah, I think you're playing for Lyon to go be at a brand new franchise. And like, Laura, I don't know if you've played for a brand new team in the NWSL. It's a journey.
Yeah.
It is a rocky road.
Yeah, it is. You are navigating some weird times.
Yeah.
So, but I could see 2027, given that it's World Cup year, you start to come home, it's less travel in that regard, potentially. She's been overseas majority of her career at that point in time. And so I can see once they get one season under the belt and things start to kind of shake out and you get a better understanding and like more solid foundation, could really see that.
Yeah. Sandra, you agree?
Yeah, I think 26 is too soon. It's asking too much of at this point, a very veteran player to build up something like that. And I don't think that's the profile of player and the experience that they have that you could sell them on that. It has to be pretty sweet in other areas, and there's a lot of other teams that would want to compete for the opportunity to have a Lindsey Herrera on their roster, Why not throw San Diego in the mix? But either way, I don't think it's going to be 26. I think it'll be 27.
Big facts. Also, Lori, I'm dying. Our producer just reminded me they were all new teams in the NWSL when Lori
I was actually going to say it, but then I was like, they're also telling us to keep these to 1 or 2 sentences. So I was like, don't add. But yes, in the WPS, I also played with Philly and we were a new team. And
I was like,
Those
God-
are for their time.
And here's where
this league was built on Lori's shoulder.
I was gonna say, and
Let
here's
us
where
not forget.
here's where we close the show with gratitude. Thank you, Lori, for literally playing
LOL.
on every new club team in any iteration of a women's pro league in the States.
We started a
So
league.
I went through, this is how we close it out. I went through a lot of razzle dazzle for us to be here, okay?
That's right. Girl.
Well, we appreciate it. We wouldn't be here without you, Lori. We
No.
appreciate you. Everyone, this was such a fun show. Shout out to everybody in the chat jumping in. The combo was great. We'll get to more of it this next week. But don't forget, A3 is back this Sunday, the 28th on YouTube, right after the final whistle of Seattle, North Carolina Courage. Hopefully that's a more exciting game than Lori and Sandra predicted. But Sandra will be there, Christine Cupo, and Lori Lindsey is back, baby, to wrap up week 22 and give you our attacking third best 11. Again, thank you so much, whether you're listening as a pod on Golazo.net or with us here on YouTube. Thank you so much. From Phil, our producer, Audrey, Sandra, and Lori, I'm Darian, and this was Attacking Third.